Daniel Jeremiah has his latest mock draft published on NFL.com. And the one thing that I like to look at with mock drafts, Abdalla, is how many quarterbacks will go in the first round. What we've seen here as of late is that there's been a suggestion leading up to the last couple weeks that there's only going to be one person in the first round that goes as a quarterback, and it's Fernando Mendoza going to the Raiders at number 1. Outside of that, what we've heard from scouts and people talking about the NFL say is that all of the other quarterbacks coming out of college this year to play in the draft, Ty Simpson, Garrett Nussmeier, Carson Beck, Drew Aller, all of these quarterbacks are second, third, fourth round guys. No one that's worthy of a first round grade. We did see earlier this week that Mel Kiper Jr. put Ty Simpson up into the first round and pretty high, I think, 16 to the Jets. Mm-hmm. That's their second first-round pick that they have. Outside of that, we haven't seen anyone else crack a first-round mock in most situations for a quarterback besides Mendoza.
Yeah, and I think were a couple early that potentially had him going to the Steelers, which, it could be interesting. The Steelers have 21 overall, and depending on what Aaron Rodgers decides here, because we're still waiting to see what Aaron Rodgers does decide, even if he does decide to join the Steelers and be their quarterback this year, which we all assume he's going to do, the Steelers do need a quarterback for the future. Drafting one at 21 would be a little high because you would think that you would want something and someone to start and have an instant impact in what could be Aaron Rodgers' final season in the NFL. So drafting Ty Simpson in the second round, you would think that if nobody drafts Simpson in the first round, that there would be a race to draft him in the second round between the Jets, the Steelers, and someone who needs a quarterback to develop. Even the Rams. The Rams might need a quarterback to sit behind Matthew Stafford and learn from Sean McVay for a year, and someone that they can turn to if Stafford decides to retire after a year. So I think that right now, when you're looking at these mock drafts, the way Daniel Jeremiah has it laid out, he has one quarterback. He has Fernando Mendoza going number 1 overall to the Raiders, and that's it. And that's how I believe it's going to lay out. The only way I could see this shaking out and getting 2 quarterbacks coming in, or going in the first round, is if you get the Seattle Seahawks trading out of the first round and one of these teams trading up into the first round at the end of the draft of the first night to try to get Simpson, because then you get that 5th-year option. Because then he's cost-controlled for 5 years, and if he's going to sit for a year, that makes sense. Because then you get a year, and then he has 4 more years where he could start, and you could pick up that 5th-year option. You get another year to decide what you're going to do, if he's solid, if he's not, whatever he is. Having that extra year of control where if you want to trade up with the Seahawks, if you want to trade up with the Patriots, if they don't end up using that pick to trade away with the Eagles to get A.J. Brown, you could even trade with the Eagles to get back into the first round if you wanted to. That's the only way right now I see another quarterback going in the first round of this year's NFL draft.
When you look at the first round overall and the teams that need quarterbacks, the New York Jets obviously are a team that needs a quarterback. They have the 2nd and the 16th pick in the first round. So that's where Mel Kiper suggested that the Jets, with that 2nd first-round pick, would go quarterback. So you got the Jets, they need a quarterback. You have the Cardinals picking 3rd. They need a quarterback. Besides that, Cleveland has 6, and they also have the 24th pick in the first round. Cleveland's quarterback situation is so muddled. They've got a bunch of dudes. They're going to try out Shedeur Sanders and Gabriel and Watson and have them all compete for the gig. I don't know if any of them are the long-term solution. So I can't see Cleveland springing for a quarterback, at least in this draft. We know Miami's situation long-term. I would suggest, and I think Abdalla would suggest as well, that the Miami Dolphins need a quarterback. Mm-hmm. They just signed Malik Willis. I don't think that's a long-term solution. I'm guessing Miami in this draft will not use a first-round pick on a quarterback. Mm-mm. So I'm trying to run down the list of teams in the first round. Now, Pittsburgh is interesting at 21. Could Pittsburgh perhaps at 21 see if Ty Simpson doesn't go at 16 to the Jets? Is that a landing spot? Because even if Aaron Rodgers returns this season to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's not a 3 to 4 year solution. That's a 1 year deal. Rodgers back with McCarthy. To me, it's a 1 year thing. So when we look at other teams in the NFL in the first round that could be shopping a quarterback or could be potential teams to take a quarterback in the first round, it's a limited amount of answers. It's like the New York Jets, maybe the Steelers, and that's kind of it. Because I don't think that Arizona at 3, I don't think they'll do it. I don't think anyone else in the top 10 will do it. And that's kind of where we sit with first-round quarterbacks. So I think part of this conversation is that the caliber of quarterback coming out this year isn't worthy of being a first-round pick. But also, I don't know if there's too many teams eager to select a quarterback and jump a quarterback early in the first round this year.
No, had the Rams not traded away 29 of the Chiefs for Trent McDuffie, I could see the Rams doing it there.
Yeah, the Rams have 13, and I don't see 13 being a spot to take a quarterback.
Again, these are teams that are going all in this year to try to win now for their retiring quarterback. And I put the Steelers in that spot too. If Aaron Rodgers comes back this year and they use 21 to draft essentially his replacement, he's going to be furious. You need an impact player that's going to help him right now, whether it's offense or defense. You need a player that's going to help you win right now. And using a pick like that at 21 on a guy that's going to sit the entire year is a waste of a first-round pick. Now, it helps you in the future.
Yeah.
It helps you in 27 and 28 and all in the future, ideally, because you've got Mike McCarthy, and Mike McCarthy developed Aaron Rodgers and he developed Dak Prescott. But it doesn't help Aaron Rodgers right now. And if I'm coming back, I need to know that you're not drafting a quarterback at 21. You're drafting someone that's going to help me or going to help the defense, someone that's going to help us win if I'm Aaron Rodgers. So, and same with 13 for the Rams. You're not drafting a quarterback at 13. You're drafting someone that's going to be an impact player that is going to help Matthew Stafford or help that defense, that is going to help you win a championship before Matthew Stafford decides whether he's retiring this year or he's retiring next year, whatever it is. They're not going to do that. They're the Rams. They might end up trading it. Who knows? So I would look at maybe the Rams at 13, wherever they are in the second round. Maybe they move up back into the first round. The Steelers, maybe they move up back into the first round. You know, any of these teams that need to move back up. Even the Jets early in the second round too could look to take a quarterback. But also,
see, the Rams in the second round, they're 61. It's one of the last picks in the second round.
They'd have to move back up.
Yeah.
Same with the Steelers are probably down there too because they've got 21, so they're probably comparable. In
the Rams, their next pick in the third round is 93, so that's pretty far down. It's almost right before the comp picks start in the third round. So I don't see it for the Rams this year, especially if they're moving up. Now, that's what I'm saying is I don't see that.
Now the Rams are also in prime territory. The Rams are in prime move down territory too at 13. Someone wants to move up to 13 to get someone, come on up, I'll move down. And they keep moving down and down and down and down. They're acquiring more picks in the second round, in the third round, whatever from a team, and they keep working their way down into the first round. They end up maybe at 27, 28, 29, where they keep trading down and down and down. And then they're like, oh, now it doesn't seem so bad to take Ty Simpson in that later part of the draft.
Or you could get a situation where if it is the Jets that are eyeing Ty Simpson, which what we saw from Mel Kiper, Daniel Jeremiah on the NFL Network is not suggesting that. He doesn't have a second quarterback going in the first round. But if it is 16 at the Jets, maybe you're onto something with the Rams moving back, because the only other option would be if Pittsburgh wanted Ty Simpson, they would have to get past the Jets at 16 to get that accomplished.
I'd be so mad. I'd be so mad if I was Aaron Rodgers. I'd be so mad. And not only
look at all those teams in that range.
Not only are you taking Ty Simpson, but you're trading up for Ty Simpson. Come on, man. No. I'd be so pissed.
All of those teams have a quarterback. So 13 the Rams, 14 the Ravens, 15 the Bucks, and then 16 the Jets. So all of those teams, the Cowboys are at 12. All of those teams are in the range of move back if someone's desperate enough, and if that is where the Jets want to take a quarterback is at 16.
Okay. We're also
Hey,
doing.
it's crazy. I wouldn't do it.
Okay, look, we're also talking about.
But teams get desperate with
I understand,
quarterbacks.
but we're also talking about all of this movement and all of this trading up and trading down. And I'm an Alabama fan, and I watched every single snap of Ty Simpson. We're talking about doing all of this stuff for Ty Simpson. Like, we're talking about this draft where Fernando Mendoza, if he were to be drafted in 2 years ago's draft with Drake May and with Caleb Williams and with Bo Nix and and JJ McCarthy, he would have been after all of those guys. He would have been after Cam Ward. He would have been we're talking about Ty Simpson would have been after all of those guys. Like, don't be dumb. We just talked about it.
Don't be dumb.
We just talked about it last hour about the Browns proposing a new rule that they want to be able to trade 5 years into the future. Don't be trading up above 13 or above whatever it is to get your backup quarterback for the future. Like, it's not worth it. There's next year's draft, guys. There's next year's draft.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. A couple other notable items from Daniel Jeremiah's latest mock draft on NFL.com. At number 4, Tennessee, we see it again. This is the second mock draft this week. Jeremiah Love, running back from Notre Dame, goes 4th overall. All right, Abdalla, play our greatest hits on. Call up the greatest hits, Bleck and Abdalla greatest hits on drafting a running back within the first 10 picks of the NFL draft. Go ahead.
I hate it.
Run it.
I hate it. It wouldn't be me. It would not be me. But he better be the best running back in the history of the NFL.
I said it yesterday to you. If that's where you're taking a running back, Jeremiah Love has to give you production that LaDainian Tomlinson gave you. Mm-hmm. Or Adrian Peterson in his prime.
He better win Rookie of the Year. I'll tell you that.
Saquon Barkley, right? Like, that's what you have to. And he may be that.
Look, yeah.
This is not a critique on Jeremiah Love. I think he's going to be really good. Mm-hmm. He was an absolute star at Notre Dame. If you're building a team and all the different pieces that you need to compete, running back on offense, to me, is a lot lower than a lot of other spots.
But again, like, this is what you're going to hear leading into this draft, is that Daniel Jeremiah spells it out. The number 2 player in his draft is Jeremiah Love. Like, if you're just stacking up players in his draft, his number 2 player in the draft, regardless of position, is Jeremiah Love. And some people have him as the number 1 player in the draft. Like, if you ask some analysts who's the best player in this draft, they'll say Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
And
it's
so
out there. Yeah.
If you're getting the best player in the draft, or if you think you're getting the best player in the draft, and that's what you need, like Daniel Jeremiah says it on NFL.com, Tennessee addressed a lot of its defensive needs in free agency, which frees up the team to take my number 2 player in the draft to help Cam Ward. Okay. He better be great.
Let's do that.
He better be
I agree with you on that.
Insanely great.
Well, that's why I keep comparing him to Adrian Peterson or LaDainian Tomlinson or players of that caliber, because if you're taking a running back 4, that's what they got to be. Mm-hmm. I would also suggest, like, Tennessee, do you have your number 1 wide receiver? That's all I'm throwing out there. Before you go running back, you got Calvin Ridley on the roster, Wan'Dale Robinson, who you just signed in free agency. I mean, do you have your number 1 wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans? To me, it would be much more valuable to use that 4th pick on the best available wide receiver than a running back.
Are you sure, Robert Saleh, defensive-minded head coach, that you have every best available defensive player in the NFL? Do you have the best available edge rushers? Or do you do what the Eagles do, where you just have an insane amount of pass rushers that you just throw bodies at these guys? Because that's what makes the Eagles great. Howie Roseman just threw a ton of money and a ton of draft capital at pass rushers, edge rushers, defensive tackles, and guys that could get after the quarterback, and they just came at you in waves and waves and waves, and that's what got them a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think that's where this entire conversation, it's like maybe you would need more help defensively. I know Tennessee spent a lot in free agency on the defensive side of the ball. I would suggest that a better number one wide receiver would be more of a ideal fit with that pick, instead of going running back for the Titans. So that's one thing to note. A couple other things from the Jeremiah mock draft on NFL.com of note. Caleb Downs is picked at 10 to the Bengals.
Wow.
Which I actually am okay with. You and I just we're talking running backs. If you're taking a safety in the top 5, that guy's got to be Hall of Fame level safety. But if you're going to wait to 10, from 10 to 15, I'm cool with that. I'm okay. Downs with Cincinnati, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree with you. Daniel Jeremiah thinks he's the best defensive player in the draft. But again, you're right. He's a safety. As far as hierarchy of position goes,
that's what we're talking about. This is not a takedown of Downs or Love.
Absolutely
They're both
not.
great players. It's
Absolutely
just
not.
if you're drafting safeties and running backs high in the first round, you're probably not going to be a great football team.
No, when you're ranking, that's why we spent the beginning of this hour talking about the quarterbacks, because that's one. And then you'd probably go edge rushers, offensive linemen, and that's B or C. It doesn't matter. Flip them if you want to.
Yep.
That's fine. And then you can go with wide receivers, cornerbacks, all those other guys. And then safeties, running backs, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I don't mind him at 10. I don't mind him a little bit earlier if you want to, if you think he's the best defensive player in the draft. But going in the top 5, I mean, if that's the decision your franchise wants to make.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. So Daniel Jeremiah has one quarterback going in the first round in his latest mock draft. That is up there on NFL.com. So we'll keep our eyes on that. We're about a month and a week away from the NFL draft in Pittsburgh, and we can't wait. And we love talking about the NFL draft and the NFL. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla.